The sleek alien vessel hung in Earth's orbit, its crystal-like form catching and scattering sunlight like a massive space-borne prism. Down on Earth, in the bustling heart of New York City, tension filled the air inside the United Nations headquarters. World leaders from every corner of the globe sat in anxious silence, their eyes fixed on the central podium. Dr. Hannah Park took a deep breath as she faced the assembly. Her dark hair was pulled back in a neat bun, and her crisp blue suit contrasted sharply with the wooden podium. She held a tablet in her slightly trembling hands, though her voice remained steady as she addressed the room. At 300 hours GMT, we received their first detailed communication. She began, tapping her tablet to project a holographic image above the assembly. The alien representatives appeared as tall, crystalline beings with flowing, almost liquid-like movements. Their forms shifted colors as they moved, creating patterns that seemed to pulse with their speech. The assembled leaders murmured among themselves, some leaning forward in their seats, others shrinking back. The images were both beautiful and unsettling. These beings were undeniably alien in every sense of the word. The message content was, Dr. Park paused, choosing her words carefully. Well, let's say they were not impressed with humanity. She swiped to display the translated text. They consider us primitive, barely able to reach our own moon. But what seems to puzzle them most is our relationship with other Earth species. Ambassador Jin Lee, known for his diplomatic work in complex international negotiations, shifted in his front row seat. His usually calm demeanor showed cracks of concern as he raised his hand to speak. Dr. Park, are you saying they take issue with our pets? That's correct, Ambassador. She nodded, bringing up another holographic display showing Earth's cities, homes, and the various animals that shared these spaces with humans. They find it particularly wasteful that we dedicate resources, living space, and emotional energy to what they term lesser beings. Their exact words were rather harsh. The British representative, Lord Hamilton, cleared his throat uncomfortably. He was about to speak when a soft meow echoed through the chamber. The sound seemed to freeze everyone in place. A large orange tabby cat, with a white chest and golden eyes, casually strolled into view. It walked with the confident air that only cats possess, its tail held high like a flag. This was Mr. Pickles, Lord Hamilton's beloved pet, who had somehow slipped past security and followed his owner into the meeting. Lord Hamilton's face turned a deep shade of red. I am terribly sorry, he stammered, half rising from his seat. But Mr. Pickles had already begun his diplomatic mission. The cat wandered between the rows of seats, receiving scattered nervous laughs and a few affectionate looks from the delegates. He paused to rub against the German Chancellor's legs, earning a small smile from the usually stern woman. Then, with the perfect timing that cats seem to possess, he headed straight for the main display area. Dr. Park watched, transfixed, as Mr. Pickles sat directly under the holographic display of the alien beings. The cat tilted his head, batting playfully at the light particles, creating a striking image, Earth's companion animal fearlessly interacting with humanity's first contact. The room fell silent, the symbolism lost on no one. Here was the very thing the aliens found so puzzling about humanity, the bond between humans and animals, playing out in front of Earth's leaders during this crucial moment. Ambassador Lee broke the silence with a soft chuckle. Perhaps, he said, his eyes twinkling, our new friends need to see this for themselves. Nothing explains the human-animal bond better than experiencing it firsthand. Dr. Park found herself smiling as Mr. Pickles began his thorough grooming routine, completely unconcerned with the weight of the moment. The aliens' first diplomatic visit is scheduled for next week, she said. They've chosen Seoul as their landing site. Then maybe, Ambassador Lee replied, watching Mr. Pickles now curled contentedly in a patch of sunlight, we should let them see exactly what they're calling primitive. After all, any species that can turn natural predators into loving companions might have something to teach the galaxy. The meeting continued, but the mood had shifted. The fear and tension had eased, replaced by a quiet confidence. Humanity might be young in galactic terms, but they had achieved something remarkable: the ability to form deep, lasting bonds with other species. It was a strength the aliens had overlooked, but one that would soon become impossible to ignore. As the delegates discussed preparation plans, Mr. Pickles dozed peacefully in his sunbeam, unaware that he had just become Earth's first unofficial ambassador to the stars. Sometimes, the most powerful diplomatic statements come wrapped in fur and purrs. The autumn sun streamed through the tall windows of Seoul's new Interstellar Relations Center, casting rainbow patterns across its polished floors. The building had been constructed in just 3 months, a testament to human determination to make a good first impression on their galactic visitors. Inside the main conference room, tension filled the air. The human delegation sat on one side of the long table, their formal attire a sharp contrast to the shimmering, crystalline forms of the alien representatives across from them. Supreme Coordinator Raz stood at the head of the table, their crystalline bodies shifting through shades of blue and green as they spoke. "Your species shows potential," Raz's translated voice echoed through the room's speakers. "However, your primitive attachments to lesser beings raise serious concerns about your readiness to join galactic society." Dr. Sung Kim, Earth's leading xenobiologist, watched carefully from his seat. His years of studying alien life forms hadn't prepared him for beings quite like this. The crystalline, as humans had started calling them, seemed to communicate not just through sound, but through the shifting colors and patterns across their transparent bodies. Ra continued their speech, their form now pulsing with what Dr. Kim recognized as patterns of authority. "The resources you waste on non-sentient creatures could be better used for technological advancement. Your emotional connections to these beings show a lack of proper evolutionary development." The speech might have continued for hours, but fate, in the form of a fluffy white Persian cat, had other plans. Mr. Whiskers, belonging to British Ambassador Thompson, had somehow slipped away from his carrier in the building's temporary pet housing facility. The cat had navigated the building's ventilation system and chosen this exact moment to push through a loose ceiling panel. The elegant feline dropped gracefully onto the conference table, landing with perfect poise. His fluffy tail stood straight up like a flag, and his blue eyes surveyed the room with typical feline superiority. The reaction was instant. The crystalline aliens recoiled, their forms flashing rapid patterns of alarm in red and orange. Ra's voice rose several octaves as they announced, "Predator. Security breach. Contain the dangerous creature." The alien security detail moved forward, their crystalline forms pulsing with threatening patterns. But before anyone could react, Mr. Whiskers did something that would change the course of human-alien relations forever. He started walking straight toward Ra. "Please remain calm," Dr. Kim said quickly, raising his hands. "Mr. Whiskers is completely harmless. He's a domesticated companion animal." The aliens froze, their confusion evident in the swirling patterns across their forms. They watched in fascination as Mr. Whiskers approached their leader with confident steps, his purr growing louder with each step. Ra stood perfectly still as the cat reached them. Mr. Whiskers sniffed Ra's crystalline leg, then proceeded to rub against it, marking the alien leader with his scent as cats do with their chosen humans. To everyone's amazement, Ra's surface began to emit soft, musical chimes, a sound no human had heard from them before. Fascinating. Ra's voice had dropped to a softer tone. "The creature, it vibrates with a pleasing frequency. And its fur, the texture is most unexpected." Their crystalline form had shifted to gentle shades of pink and gold, patterns flowing like calm waves across their surface. Dr. Kim watched in amazement as Mr. Whiskers worked his feline magic. The cat had now sat down next to Ra, grooming himself with that careful attention cats give to their toilet when they're completely comfortable in their surroundings. The other aliens had moved closer, their forms showing patterns of curiosity rather than fear. Ambassador Thompson, who had been mortified at first, now wore a slight smile. "That's what we've been trying to explain," he said softly. "These creatures are our companions. They choose to live with us, and we with them. It's a partnership that has evolved over thousands of years. Ra reached down slowly, their crystalline fingers extending toward Mr. Whiskers. The cat paused in his grooming to sniff the offered hand, then pressed his head against it in approval. The chiming from Ra's form grew louder, more melodic. "This is unprecedented," Ray admitted, their form now glowing with warm colors. "The creature shows no fear. It offers affection freely. And these vibrations it produces, they create pleasant resonances within my crystalline structure." The other aliens had drawn even closer now, their forms showing similar patterns of fascination and delight, as Mr. Whiskers accepted their presence with typical cat-like grace. The formal diplomatic meeting had transformed into something far more meaningful, a first-hand demonstration of humanity's special relationship with their animal companions. "Perhaps," Ray said finally, still gently petting Mr. Whiskers, "we have been too hasty in our judgment of human-animal bonds. This requires further study. We request more information about these companions." Dr. Kim smiled as he watched Mr. Whiskers settle down for a nap next to Ra, the cat's purrs harmonizing with the alien's chimes. Sometimes, he thought, the best diplomacy doesn't come from careful words or formal treaties. Sometimes, it comes from the simple, honest affection of a cat who doesn't know or care that they're making history. The meeting continued, but its tone had completely changed. The aliens asked endless questions about pets, showing particular interest in the process of domestication and the various ways animals and humans communicated. Mr. Whiskers, meanwhile, had claimed Ra's chair as his new favorite spot, looking quite pleased with his diplomatic achievement. The morning sun shone brightly over Seoul's Central Park as Dr. Song Lee checked his watch for the 10th time. The alien delegation would arrive any minute, and despite the success of Mr. Whiskers' impromptu diplomacy, he felt nervous about today's demonstration. Around him, the park buzzed with its usual morning activity. Dog owners had been informed about the special visitors, but were asked to continue their normal routines. The result was a perfectly natural scene of human-animal companionship in action. The crystalline forms of Ra and their delegation appeared at the park entrance, their surfaces reflecting the morning sunlight in rainbow patterns. Dr. Lee straightened his jacket and walked over to greet them. Before he could speak, a tennis ball bounced past, followed by an enthusiastic golden retriever named Max. The aliens shifted colors rapidly, but didn't show the same alarm they had with Mr. Whiskers. Max retrieved his ball and trotted back to his owner, a young woman in running clothes, who smiled and threw it again. "What is this behavior?" Ray asked, their form showing swirling patterns of curiosity. "The large creature follows commands without restraints." "That's Max, a golden retriever," Dr. Lee explained. "He's playing fetch with his human companion. It's a game they both enjoy." He gestured for the delegation to follow him deeper into the park. They passed a group of children being carefully herded by an enthusiastic corgi. The small dog circled the laughing kids, gently keeping them in a group as they played. The alien delegation's colors shifted rapidly between blues and greens of confusion and interest. "This smaller one, it organizes the young humans?" one of the aliens asked. "Yes, corgis were originally bred to herd cattle. Even though this one, Buddy, is a family pet, he still has those instincts. He's using them to play with the children." The aliens watched as Buddy received pets and treats from the children, his stubby tail wagging with joy. Their crystalline forms chimed softly in response to the children's laughter. The group approached a water station where a massive Great Dane stood next to his water bowl. A tiny Chihuahua approached, and without hesitation, the larger dog moved aside, sharing the water freely. Ra's form pulsed with intense patterns. The size difference, yet they show no aggression. How is this possible? Before Dr. Lee could answer, they witnessed something that made the aliens' forms flicker rapidly. A little girl, no more than 6 years old, was hugging her pug, and the squat dog was covering her face with gentle licks, causing her to giggle. "You've modified wolves into these creatures." Ra's translated voice carried clear amazement. The genetic engineering required, the behavioral modifications. Dr. Lee smiled, watching the scene before them. No engineering was involved, he explained. This is the result of thousands of years of friendship and selective breeding. We grew together, humans and dogs, helping each other survive and thrive. He led them to a nearby bench where they could observe more interactions. A service dog helped its visually impaired owner navigate the park paths. A therapy dog sat patiently while elderly parkgoers petted it, their faces lighting up with joy. Each breed you see here was developed for different purposes, Dr. Lee continued. Some helped us hunt, others protected our homes, and some were simply companions. But all of them chose to be with us, just as we chose to be with them. An elderly man walked past with his mixed-breed dog, the animal carefully matching its pace to its owner's slow steps. The aliens watched intently as the dog occasionally looked up at its human, checking on him. The level of awareness they show, Ray observed, their form shifting to thoughtful purple hues. They understand their humans' needs. Dogs have evolved to read human emotions and body language, Dr. Lee explained. They can tell when we're sad, happy, or unwell. Many can even detect diseases or predict seizures before they happen. A police officer walked by with her German Shepherd partner, the dog alert but calm. Ray's form shimmered with new patterns. They serve in your security forces. Yes, dogs work with us in many ways. Police work, search and rescue, military operations. But most importantly, they're our friends. They share our homes and our lives because they want to, not because we force them. As if to demonstrate this point, a group of dogs in the nearby dog run played together. A Labrador, a poodle, and several mixed breeds chasing each other joyfully while their humans chatted nearby. And you provide medical care for them. Shelter, food, another alien asked. Of course, Dr. Lee nodded. Their family. Ray was silent for a long moment, their crystalline form showing complex patterns of deep thought. Perhaps, they finally said, we have much to learn from Earth about the power of cooperation between species. This bond you've developed, it's unlike anything we've seen in the galaxy. As they continued watching the morning activities in the park, Dr. Lee noticed the aliens' forms had shifted to warmer, more relaxed colors. Sometimes, he thought, the best way to understand humanity was to see them through the eyes of the beings who had chosen to share their lives with us. A small mixed-breed dog approached the aliens, wagging its tail in friendly greeting. To Dr. Lee's surprise, Ray reached down, mimicking the petting motions they had seen humans make. The dog's tail wagged faster, and Ra's form began to chime with that same pleasant tone they had made with Mr. Whiskers. The revolution wasn't happening with speeches or treaties, but with wagging tails and friendly barks, with shared water bowls and tennis balls. And somehow, that made it all the more powerful. The morning mist still clung to the grounds of Seoul Grand Zoo as Chief Zoologist Mi Park waited at the entrance. Early sunlight caught the droplets on the leaves, creating tiny rainbows that seemed fitting for today's special visitors. The zoo was closed to the public, allowing the alien delegation to observe Earth's wildlife management without disruption. Ra and their crystalline companions arrived precisely on time, their forms catching the morning light in spectacular ways. Mi noticed they seemed more relaxed than in previous meetings, their colors showing softer, more curious patterns. Welcome to Seoul Grand Zoo, Mai said, bowing slightly. We'll start with our aquatic center, if you'll follow me. The delegation moved through the quiet paths, passing carefully designed habitats. Ray's form flickered with interest at each enclosure, but Mai saved her explanations for their first planned stop. At the dolphin facility, they arrived just in time to watch the morning training session. A young zookeeper named Jun stood on the platform, holding a bucket of fish and a whistle. In the pool, 3 bottlenose dolphins waited attentively. Watch how they interact, Mai suggested quietly. Jun blew the whistle in a specific pattern, and one dolphin responded by performing a complex series of movements. After completing the sequence, the dolphin returned to the platform, where Jun offered praise, gentle pats, and a fish reward. The sounds coordinate their actions. Ray asked, their form showing patterns of curiosity. Yes, but it's more than just commands, Mai explained. The dolphins choose to participate. They can refuse at any time. This is about trust and cooperation. As if to demonstrate her point, one of the dolphins sprayed water playfully at Jun, who laughed and wiped his face. The aliens' forms flickered rapidly at this unexpected behavior. They show humor, another alien asked. Dolphins are highly intelligent, Mai nodded. They play, solve problems, and form strong social bonds, both with each other and with humans. They moved on to the elephant enclosure, where they witnessed something that made the aliens' forms pulse with intense patterns. A keeper named Sunhai was working with the elephant herd, using gentle touches and soft words to guide a health checkup. The largest elephant, an elderly female named Maya, lifted her foot when Sunhai asked, allowing inspection of her footpads. The trust between them was obvious, even to the alien observers. This creature could easily kill the human, Ray observed, their form showing patterns of amazement. Yet it chooses to be gentle. Maya and Sunhai have worked together for 15 years, Mai explained. Elephants are incredibly intelligent and emotional beings. They form deep bonds with their caretakers. The group watched as Sunhai checked each elephant in turn, speaking softly to them in Korean. The elephants responded to her voice and touch with clear understanding, cooperating with each examination. But you keep them in enclosures? One alien asked, their form showing confusion patterns. These elephants are part of our conservation program, Mai explained. Their wild habitats are threatened. Here, they're protected, studied, and help us educate people about the importance of preserving their species. They continued to the research center, where Mai showed them videos of various studies. Orangutans using tools, parrots demonstrating problem-solving skills, and gorillas communicating through sign language. Each species here teaches us something new, Mai said, pulling up data on her tablet. We learn about intelligence, emotion, social structures, and in return, we provide care, protection, and enrichment. Ra's form shifted to thoughtful purple hues. You study them, but you also protect them. Even species that offer no practical benefit. All species have value, Mai replied firmly. Our role is not to judge their worth, but to understand and preserve them. They reached the big cat enclosure, where a tiger was being given its morning health check. The alien delegation watched in amazement as the massive predator calmly allowed the veterinarian to examine it, responding to voice commands and gentle guidance. Even your most dangerous predators, Raz's voice trailed off, their form showing complex patterns of realization. Trust can be built with any species, Mai confirmed. It requires patience, understanding, and respect. The tour concluded at the zoo's research library, where Mai showed them centuries of accumulated knowledge about animal behavior, biology, and conservation. Your species has dedicated vast resources to understanding other creatures, Ray observed, their form now showing patterns Mai hadn't seen before. Yes, she agreed, because the more we understand them, the better we can protect them, and the more we learn about ourselves in the process. As the delegation prepared to leave, they passed the primate center. A young gorilla was showing a keeper a picture in a children's book, using sign language to communicate about what she saw. The aliens stopped, their forms pulsing with intense patterns of wonder. Perhaps, Ray said finally, their crystalline surface chiming softly. We have been wrong about Earth's approach to other species. What we saw as primitive emotional attachment is actually a sophisticated system of mutual understanding and cooperation. Mai smiled as she watched the gorilla carefully turn the book's pages, pointing out details to her human friend. We don't see ourselves as rulers of Earth's creatures, she said. We're just one species among many, trying to learn from each other. The alien delegation left the zoo that day with their forms showing entirely new patterns, ones that spoke of deep thought and reconsidered assumptions. They had come expecting to see animals in captivity, but instead had witnessed something revolutionary, a species that had learned to bridge the gaps between different forms of life, creating connections that transcended biological barriers. As Mai watched them leave, she knew that humanity's relationship with Earth's creatures had just become one of their greatest strengths in the galactic community. Sometimes, she thought, the most powerful technology isn't about machines at all. It's about the ability to build trust across species. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Federation's Central Council sparkled with the presence of hundreds of crystalline beings. Their forms created a living light show as they shifted and moved, discussing the latest sensation in galactic society, Earth and its animal companions. Ambassador Jin Li stood at the central podium, his dark suit a stark contrast to the shimmering alien forms surrounding him. On his shoulder sat a small green parakeet named Sky, who occasionally preened the ambassador's hair, causing ripples of fascinated color changes through the alien audience. As I was saying, Jin continued, gently scratching Sky's head, Earth homes commonly have at least one animal companion. Some have several. These relationships vary from the simple keeping of fish in aquariums to complex partnerships with highly intelligent species like dogs and parrots. A crystalline being near the front pulsed with questioning patterns, and these creatures choose to stay, without containment fields or neural controls. Sky chose that moment to demonstrate, flying across the chamber in a playful loop before returning to Jin's shoulder. The alien audience shimmed with amazement at the bird's voluntary return. They stay because they want to, Jin explained, offering Sky a small treat. The bond is based on trust and affection, not control. News feeds across the galaxy were constantly broadcasting images from Earth. Cats curled up with their humans, dogs playing in parks, children reading to therapy animals, birds singing along with music. Each new video sparked fresh waves of fascination among alien species. In another part of the Federation complex, a team of alien scientists watched footage of Earth's various animal companions. They studied everything from the way cats purred to how dogs understood human pointing gestures. Their research center had become one of the busiest in the galaxy. The implications are extraordinary, one scientist's translated voice announced. These humans have achieved what we thought impossible, voluntary cross-species cooperation on a massive scale. Back in the council chamber, Jin found himself addressing the growing interest in what some were calling the Earth model of species interaction. Several alien species have already expressed interest in adopting Earth animals, he said. While we're open to the idea, we need to establish proper guidelines. These are living beings, not products to be distributed. The chamber buzzed with discussion. Some alien forms showed patterns of eager anticipation, while others displayed more cautious colors. A representative from the Proxima system moved forward, their crystalline form glowing softly. What about larger creatures? The ones in your zoos? Could we establish similar facilities? Jin shook his head. Those animals require specialized care and environments. For now, we're focusing on domestic species that have evolved alongside humans for thousands of years. The first interstellar pet adoption center was already under construction on a neutral space station. Earth veterinarians and animal behaviorists worked alongside alien architects to create suitable environments for both animals and their potential new families. Dr. Min Park, Earth's leading veterinarian on the project, spent hours explaining proper care procedures to interested alien species. Each animal has specific needs, she would say. We must ensure they'll be met before any adoption can proceed. The impact reached beyond just pets. Earth's approach to wildlife conservation began influencing galactic policies. Several alien worlds started establishing their own conservation programs, learning from Earth's successes and failures in protecting endangered species. Trading patterns shifted as well. Earth's pet care products became highly sought after, from simple cat toys to advanced veterinary equipment. Some alien species even began developing their own versions of pet accessories, adapted for their unique physiologies. We never expected this, Jin admitted to a colleague during a break between sessions. We thought our relationship with animals might be seen as a weakness. Instead, it's becoming one of our greatest diplomatic assets. Sky chirped in agreement, now playing with a small toy that an alien representative had crafted specially for him. The toy, a complex crystalline structure that caught and reflected light in ways that fascinated the parakeet, represented the growing cultural exchange between Earth and its galactic neighbors. In the Council's archives, a new section was created dedicated to Earth's Companion Species Initiative. It contained thousands of hours of footage showing human-animal interactions, medical studies, behavioral research, and the growing impact of Earth's approach to interspecies relationships. As I was saying, Jin continued, gently scratching Sky's head, Earth homes commonly have at least one animal companion. Some have several. These relationships vary from the simple keeping of fish in aquariums to complex partnerships with highly intelligent species like dogs and parrots. A crystalline being near the front pulsed with questioning patterns, and these creatures choose to stay, without containment fields or neural controls. Sky chose that moment to demonstrate, flying across the chamber in a playful loop before returning to Jin's shoulder. The alien audience shimmed with amazement at the bird's voluntary return. They stay because they want to, Jin explained, offering Sky a small treat. The bond is based on trust and affection, not control. News feeds across the galaxy were constantly broadcasting images from Earth. Cats curled up with their humans, dogs playing in parks, children reading to therapy animals, birds singing along with music. Each new video sparked fresh waves of fascination among alien species. In another part of the Federation complex, a team of alien scientists watched footage of Earth's various animal companions. They studied everything from the way cats purred to how dogs understood human pointing gestures. Their research center had become one of the busiest in the galaxy. The implications are extraordinary, one scientist's translated voice announced. These humans have achieved what we thought impossible, voluntary cross-species cooperation on a massive scale. Back in the council chamber, Jin found himself addressing the growing interest in what some were calling the Earth model of species interaction. Several alien species have already expressed interest in adopting Earth animals, he said. While we're open to the idea, we need to establish proper guidelines. These are living beings, not products to be distributed. The chamber buzzed with discussion. Some alien forms showed patterns of eager anticipation, while others displayed more cautious colors. A representative from the Proxima system moved forward, their crystalline form glowing softly. What about larger creatures? The ones in your zoos? Could we establish similar facilities? Jin shook his head. Those animals require specialized care and environments. For now, we're focusing on domestic species that have evolved alongside humans for thousands of years. The first interstellar pet adoption center was already under construction on a neutral space station. Earth veterinarians and animal behaviorists worked alongside alien architects to create suitable environments for both animals and their potential new families. Dr. Min Park, Earth's leading veterinarian on the project, spent hours explaining proper care procedures to interested alien species. Each animal has specific needs, she would say. We must ensure they'll be met before any adoption can proceed. The impact reached beyond just pets. Earth's approach to wildlife conservation began influencing galactic policies. Several alien worlds started establishing their own conservation programs, learning from Earth's successes and failures in protecting endangered species. Trading patterns shifted as well. Earth's pet care products became highly sought after, from simple cat toys to advanced veterinary equipment. Some alien species even began developing their own versions of pet accessories, adapted for their unique physiologies. We never expected this, Jin admitted to a colleague during a break between sessions. We thought our relationship with animals might be seen as a weakness. Instead, it's becoming one of our greatest diplomatic assets. Sky chirped in agreement, now playing with a small toy that an alien representative had crafted specially for him. The toy, a complex crystalline structure that caught and reflected light in ways that fascinated the parakeet, represented the growing cultural exchange between Earth and its galactic neighbors. In the Council's archives, a new section was created dedicated to Earth's Companion Species Initiative. It contained thousands of hours of footage showing human-animal interactions, medical studies, behavioral research, and the growing impact of Earth's approach to interspecies relationships. As the day's session ended, Jin watched alien representatives studying recordings of Earth's animal companions with intense interest. Some were particularly fascinated by cats' independence, others by dogs' loyalty, and still others by the variety of birds that chose to live with humans. "We're still learning too," Jin told them. "Every day, our animal companions surprise us with their intelligence and capacity for affection. That's what makes these relationships so special. They're always growing, always teaching us something new." Sky settled on his shoulder as they prepared to leave, and Jin could see the alien forms shifting to what he now recognized as patterns of understanding. Earth's greatest contribution to galactic society wasn't its technology or resources. It was its demonstration that different species could live together in harmony, each enriching the other's lives. The galaxy was changing, one pet adoption at a time, and Earth was leading the way into a future where the bonds between species transcended the boundaries of planets and stars. It wasn't just about pets anymore. It was about showing the galaxy a new way of thinking about relationships between different forms of life. As Jin left the chamber that day, he smiled at the sound of alien representatives discussing which Earth companion animal might best suit their species. The ripples from Earth's simple love of animals were becoming waves, reshaping the galaxy's understanding of what was possible when different species chose to share their lives together. The warning signals flashed across the Federation's emergency channels. The swarm, a hostile species that moved like a living cloud of metallic insects, had breached the outer colony defenses. Their attack pattern was unlike anything seen before, and standard Federation protocols were failing. Captain Yu Sun stood on the bridge of the Earth Response Vessel Companion, watching the chaos unfold on the main screen. Behind her, in specially designed quarters, Earth's unique rescue team waited: dogs, cats, dolphins, and their human handlers. "They think we're crazy," she said softly to her second-in-command, Dr. Minho, "bringing animals to a war zone." The first distress call came from Colony 7, where thousands were trapped in collapsed underground structures. The Federation's scanning technology couldn't penetrate the unique mineral composition of the planet's crust. "Deploy the search teams," you ordered. Within hours, German shepherds, Labradors, and other search and rescue dogs were on the ground with their handlers. The dogs' powerful noses could detect survivors deep underground, and their agility allowed them to navigate spaces too small for rescue robots. In Colony 7's command center, the crystalline aliens watched in amazement as the dogs led rescuers to survivor after survivor. Their forms pulsed with patterns of disbelief as they saw the speed and accuracy of the canine teams. "How do they know?" one alien asked, their form showing confusion patterns. "They can smell people," explained Sarah Kim, a dog handler. "And they want to find them. This isn't just training. They genuinely want to help." Underwater, another crisis unfolded. The swarm had damaged vital subsea infrastructure on Colony 9's ocean moon. Federation repair drones malfunctioned in the high-pressure environment. Captain Yu deployed the marine mammal team. Trained dolphins, working alongside human divers, navigated the dark waters with their echolocation. They could identify damage, carry tools, and even help hold pieces in place during repairs. The aliens observed as dolphins and humans worked in perfect synchronization, completing repairs that their best technology couldn't handle. The dolphins' clicks and whistles guided the humans through the murky depths, while their strong bodies helped move heavy equipment. But it was the cats that provided the biggest surprise. The swarm had developed infiltrator units, tiny drone-like devices that could slip through security sensors. They were wreaking havoc in vital facilities across the colonies. Then someone noticed something strange. In areas where Earth personnel had brought their cats, the infiltrators were being discovered quickly. The cats' acute senses and natural hunting instincts made them perfect swarm detectors. Of course, Dr. Min Ho explained to the Federation Council, cats are natural hunters with incredibly sensitive hearing and vibration detection. They can hear the infiltrators moving inside walls, sense their vibrations in the floor. Soon, cats became standard security features in critical Federation facilities. They would alert their humans to infiltrators with subtle behavior changes that even advanced sensors couldn't match. Captain Yu received an urgent message from the Federation High Command. Their forms showed patterns never seen before: respect, amazement, and a touch of humility. Your primitive emotional attachments have saved thousands of lives, the Supreme Commander admitted. We were wrong to dismiss Earth's approach to interspecies cooperation. But the true power of Earth's animal companions showed in the aftermath. In refugee centers across the colonies, therapy dogs helped traumatized survivors cope with their experiences. Their gentle presence provided comfort that no medical technology could match. Dolphins continued to work with engineering teams, their playful nature bringing unexpected joy to the grim task of rebuilding. Even the colony children began to heal, finding hope in the unwavering loyalty and love of Earth's animals. The cats, meanwhile, had become celebrities. Security footage of them catching infiltrators went viral across Federation channels. Their proud, independent nature resonated with many alien species who had previously dismissed Earth's companions as merely servants. Back on the Companion, Captain Yu sat in her quarters with her own cat, Luma. The black cat purred on her lap as she reviewed the day's reports. We didn't just show them our strength, she told Luna, who blinked slowly in agreement. We showed them a different way of solving problems, working with other species instead of trying to control everything with technology. The Federation began establishing new protocols, incorporating Earth's animal companions into their emergency response plans. Training centers were set up to teach alien species how to work with Earth animals, though the animals themselves often proved to be the best teachers. As the crisis subsided, the Federation's attitude toward Earth had shifted dramatically. What they once saw as a weakness, humanity's deep bonds with other species, was now recognized as one of their greatest strengths. In her final report to Federation Command, Captain Yu wrote, "The success of our mission wasn't about superior technology or military might. It was about trust, cooperation, and the unique bonds we formed with our fellow Earth species. These relationships, built over thousands of years, proved more valuable than any weapon system. The swarm had been defeated not by force alone, but by an approach they couldn't understand. Different species choosing to work together, trust each other, and protect each other. It was a lesson the galaxy wouldn't soon forget." As Captain Yu prepared for the journey home, she watched her crew and their animal companions resting after their long mission. Dogs napped beside their handlers, cats prowled the corridors with dignified pride, and the dolphins clicked happily in their specialized transport tanks. The Federation had gained more than just new defense strategies. They had glimpsed a different way of existing in the universe. Earth's primitive emotional attachments had shown them that true strength often comes from connection, not control. The gleaming towers of the Earth Institute of Interspecies Relations rose into the blue sky, their design blending Earth architecture with crystalline Federation elements. Inside, Dr. Hannah Park walked through the main hall beside Supreme Coordinator Ra, whose form shimmered with pleased patterns as they observed the day's activities. 5 years had transformed humanity's place in the galaxy. Earth was no longer seen as a backward planet, but had become known as the Planet of Companions, a title that brought both respect and responsibility. In one corner of the main hall, a group of alien students watched in fascination as a dog trainer demonstrated the basics of positive reinforcement. The dog, a friendly golden retriever, performed tricks with obvious joy, making the aliens' forms pulse with wonder. "They still can't quite believe it's all voluntary," Hannah said to Ra, smiling as the dog received treats and praise. "Neither can I, sometimes," Ray admitted, their crystalline surface chiming softly. Though my own companion has taught me much. As if on cue, a sleek Siamese cat emerged from behind Ray's crystalline form, rubbing against them affectionately. The Institute had become the galaxy's premier center for studying and teaching interspecies cooperation. Its halls were filled with both Earth animals and alien species, all learning to understand each other in new ways. In the aquatics wing, dolphins helped teach alien visitors about Earth's oceans, while in the aviary, parrots demonstrated their remarkable intelligence by learning bits of alien languages. Even the Institute's gardens were special, designed to accommodate Earth's insects and small animals alongside exotic alien flora. Senior Ambassador Jin Lee stood near the center of the main hall, where a simple but elegant plaque caught the light. They laughed at Earth until they saw our pets. Now they understand. Our greatest strength lies not in domination, but in connection. Nearby, several of Mr. Whisker's descendants, easily recognizable by their distinctive white and orange markings, played with a mix of human children and young aliens. The original diplomatic cat had indeed left quite a legacy. Who would have thought, Jin mused to Hana, that a cat interrupting a meeting would change galactic history? The Institute had already made remarkable breakthroughs. Some alien species had discovered they could form bonds with Earth animals in ways that surprised everyone. Others had begun applying Earth's methods to better understand their own world's creatures. In the research wing, scientists from across the galaxy studied the unique brain patterns that form during human-animal interactions. They were discovering that the capacity for cross-species bonding wasn't unique to humans. They had just been the first to fully develop it. The Institute's success had led to changes throughout the Federation. Many alien species now had Earth animal companions, leading to new perspectives on consciousness, intelligence, and cooperation. Some had even started discovering similar potential relationships with creatures from their own worlds. Dr. Park's team had just finished a groundbreaking study showing how the presence of animal companions had helped various alien species to develop greater empathy and emotional intelligence. The results were causing excitement throughout the galaxy. We're not just teaching them about our animals, Hana explained to a group of visitors. We're showing them a different way of seeing the universe, one based on connection rather than hierarchy. The Institute had become famous for its introduction to companionship programs, where aliens could spend time with various Earth animals to find their perfect match. The waiting list was years long, but no one complained. The results were worth waiting for. Ray's cat jumped onto a nearby console, causing ripples of amused color patterns through the alien visitors. 5 years ago, that would have caused panic, Ray noted. Now it's just another day at the Institute. In the memorial garden, a statue of Mr. Whiskers sat beside images of other animals who had helped bridge the gap between Earth and the stars. Each had played their part in showing the galaxy that true advancement wasn't just about technology. The Institute's success had led to unexpected benefits. Earth's wildlife conservation methods were being applied on other worlds, saving countless species. The concept of animal therapy had spread throughout the Federation, helping beings across the galaxy deal with trauma and stress. As the day drew to a close, Hana and Ray stood at the Institute's observation deck, watching the sunset. Below them, humans, aliens, and animals moved together in harmony through the Institute's grounds. We're still learning, Hana said, watching an alien child carefully offering a treat to a patient dog. Every day brings new discoveries. Ra's form showed patterns of agreement. That's perhaps the most important lesson Earth has taught us, that learning never stops when you're willing to connect with other beings. The legacy of Earth's animal companions had grown far beyond what anyone could have imagined. They had shown the galaxy that intelligence and consciousness came in many forms, and that the ability to form bonds across species was one of the universe's greatest gifts. As night fell, the Institute's lights created a warm glow, welcoming beings from across the stars who came to learn what Earth's animals had always known, that the heart of true civilization lies not in conquering, but in connecting. The universe had indeed learned never to underestimate a species that had turned predators into family members, and family members into bridge builders across the stars. Earth's greatest gift to the galaxy wasn't technology or resources, but the simple, powerful truth that love and trust could cross any boundary, even those between the stars.